Hello, this is Yitzchak Adler, and welcome to the inaugural maiden voyage of Torah for Our Times, video Divrei Torah and topics of contemporary interest for the Jewish community. I'm the rabbi at Beth David Synagogue in West Hartford, Connecticut, and I dedicate this maiden voyage to the Ilui Neshama of my father, Asher ben Yehuda, whose birthday today would have been 100 years. May his memory be a blessing. There's a teaching in Pirkei Avot, Eizahu Ashir, Hasameach Bechelko. Who is the wealthy person? Is the person who is content with their portion. The intent of this Mishnah is not to deter anybody away from dreams of achievement. Quite to the contrary. To be content is not antithetical to aspirational. To be content is the ability to see blessing in what is. Dreaming is great. Initiative is born of dreams. Achievement is the product of initiative. But a life is not a failure if the fulfillment or achievement of a dream always seems to be just one more heartbeat away. Being content does not answer all of life's questions, but it can be therapeutic in our management of life's problems. All of this as an introduction in an effort to resolve the perplexity of a verse from this week's Torah portion, Parshat Behar. The Parsha opens with instructions from the Almighty to Moses onto the children of Israel regarding the agricultural laws of Shemitah and Yovel, the sabbatical years when the land of Israel would need to rest, and the Jubilee years when, again, farmers and agriculturists were asked to refrain from working the land, all as a show of faith for the Almighty. In those days, for that population, and candidly even nowadays, for Bnei Yisrael who live in Medina Yisrael and strive to be compliant with the mitzvot of the Torah, there is a problem. Farm for 6 years and eat for 7. How is that possible? Farm for 48 years in the Yovel and then not for the 49th and not for the 50th. The Torah says not to worry. God will provide a blessing, maybe in the form of a miracle, perhaps otherwise. But as long as Bnei Yisrael observe the commandments, everything will be fine and nobody will go hungry. How is that possible? One of the great sages of an earlier generation wrote that the way the miracle would happen, the way the blessing would be realized, is that during those years when agricultural activity and farming was absent, people would still eat. They had the capacity to store food. Recall back, if you will, with me, to the story of Joseph in Egypt. They were able to take the bounty of 7 years to feed an entire region through 7 years of drought and famine. Saving food up does work, but does it fill the belly? What did people eat in those years of famine? Everything they ate in the years of plenty? And one of those great sages of an earlier generation said that the blessing of Shemitah is that a person would eat less and still feel full. A person's demands would be diminished, and yet they would still be satisfied. The result is that the achievement of the mitzvah in a successful way really was a result of a partnership, a promise from the Almighty that everything would work out, and a determination on the part of the individual on the parts of the nation that they could make it work if they simply adjusted their expectations. To live a life of blessing does not require that we experience the realization of every dream. A life of blessing is to appreciate what is and to maximize what is to the best of our abilities. The current instability between nations today has challenged national and even personal economies. What will gasoline cost where we live tomorrow morning or next week? What might be the next commodity that gets so expensive that we question whether or not we should make the purchase? How did the ancient Israelites, our ancestors, manage 7 years of life on 6 years of farming? One idea is that they found contentment and acceptance in what was without forfeiting the dream of what could be or what might be, or of what they believed was indeed possible. They knew that the Shemitah year would be followed by years of agricultural activity and productivity. And that knowledge saw them through the years of compromised resources. That optimism of faith provides the same vision in every generation and to lives everywhere. Believing that what is can and will get better is a spiritual and magical ingredient through which contentment thrives, optimism takes root, and hope blossoms. May all of us be blessed with a good week and enjoyable Shabbat, believing that whatever is now has the chances of getting better if only we believe. Shabbat Shalom.